Hello there, this is Ty the Movie Guy, and I am back after a long hiatus because, I got work and school and all that crap, but yeah, for once I have a bit of a break. So we are going to spend that time to rank all of the 2021 MCU movies and shows because there was quite a few this year compared to 2020, which was nothing. And all in all, it was a pretty good year. So we are going to rank all 9 of the movies and the shows from the worst to the best. So let's talk about it. So unfortunately, coming in last place is the What If series. This series was the most unique series, and that ultimately was its downfall because it was animated, and right off the bat, that just kind of takes it down a bit for me, at least, because I like live action more than animated. And like each episode was like, most of them were different from the rest. Like the story was different until like the end, they all combined. And like each episode was like hit or miss. Like it was either good or bad. So like all the character swap ones like Black Panther, Star-Lord, and Peggy Captain America, those were lame. The Killmonger and Iron Man one was lame. Party Thor was lame. They just, like, it's a cool idea, but all the concepts they took were really boring. Like, I wanted to see more stuff about, like, Infinity War and Endgame. Like, Doctor Strange saw millions of possibilities, so I wish we saw some of those possibilities. Like, what if Doctor Strange didn't trade the Time Stone for Tony Stark, and what if someone else did the snap and stuff like that? I wish we saw more stuff like that instead of Party Thor, really. Stuff like that was really bad. But certain stuff like the zombies one, the evil Doctor Strange one, and the Avengers getting snuffed out by Hank Pym, those were pretty cool. And the one about Ultron winning, that was all super cool, but just not enough to make the entire series good enough. So unfortunately, it is in last place. But hopefully season 2 gets some better ideas and learns from their mistakes. But until now, season 1 is in last place. Coming in 8th place, we have Black Widow. And unfortunately, for me at least, this movie just felt way too much like The Winter Soldier. Like, it was so similar. Like, the hero's on the run. There's some masked evil villain whose like mind was wiped and is just like this stone cold killer. And then there's this old man at the top of a secret organization. And there's an evil sky base that they gotta take down. It is just too similar to The Winter Soldier for me. And considering that it takes place in like 2016 when we don't really care what happens at this point, considering Black Widow's dead, it's like the complete wrong time to make this movie. If they made this in like 2016, like right after Civil War, it would actually make sense, and you didn't know Black Widow was dying or dead, so like you would be invested in the character, but like she's gonna live to die in Endgame, so it just totally takes away the anticipation and all that. Like, I don't know, it was very disappointing, especially because we had to wait so long. But yeah, it was at the wrong time. Black Widow's already dead. We had to wait so long, and it's just too similar to The Winter Soldier. So unfortunately, it is second to last in 8th place. Coming in 7th place is The Eternals. And I don't hate this movie as much as most people do. It's just a very mid-Marvel movie for me, but there are certain things that really do bother me. Like, 10 characters introduced in this one movie is a lot of characters to introduce, and like it spends half the movie going from like one place to another, like trying to introduce all these characters, and it really like disengages you from the movie with all these like new characters and then all the flashbacks and stuff like that. It just really like takes me out of the movie. And then stuff towards the end also really bothers me, like stuff that I had to like find out after the movie because they were just too dumb for me to actually realize during the movie. Like, Kingo wasn't even in the final battle, and I didn't even realize that because that's just such a stupid thing that like I didn't think he would be gone, but yeah, he actually left and I didn't even realize that. And then Icarus flew into the sun, and I thought that was I thought he just felt bad for like betraying his family, but no, he actually killed himself, and I had to read that after watching the movie, which is really stupid. And so those were like my two favorite characters, and they both like did really stupid stuff towards the end of the movie. And then I don't even think I can name all the characters. There's just too many characters, too many things going on. It's quite a mess, not gonna lie. Yeah, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy done wrong, like taking a bunch of random space characters and trying to make a cool movie out of it. Like, it did not work out. So I don't hate it as much as most people, but it is definitely just a mid-tier Marvel movie and quite forgettable, actually. In sixth place is WandaVision. And this movie, I think the best attribute of it is this is the one that made me wanted to know more the most. Like, at the end of every episode, I was like looking up theories and making videos and stuff, and it was a really fun time, like almost a year ago, like looking up all the theories and stuff like that, and wanting to know who was behind Westview, and all of that was really, really interesting. But like, after watching it, I'm not a huge fan of sitcoms, and I know people love it for that, but I'm kind of the opposite, and I like the MCU because it's actiony and I like action. So considering this was lots of sitcoms, I'm just not a big fan of sitcoms. So that took away a bit for me. And Quicksilver halfway through was super, super, super cool because that was like the very first introduction of the multiverse. And then this was the biggest, most terrible like letdown of all time. Ralph Boner, are you serious? This just like messes up the multiverse and the X-Men in the future. Like, this is the stupidest thing Marvel has ever done. And like, it's one thing, but it really packs a punch like for me to not like this show. Like, it really took this show down a bit for me. That was just such a stupid idea. And lots of people also just found the finale kind of disappointing, but I actually do like it because I do like action, and people found it, very, like, just very straightforward MCU stuff. But, that's what I'm used to. That's what I enjoy. So I enjoyed that part. I just hated Ralph Boner. I wasn't a huge fan of the sitcom, but I did want to know more. So this is also just a mid-tier kind of thing, and it's okay. Coming in fifth place, we have Hawkeye. And I liked Hawkeye, but I feel like the biggest downfall isn't even about the show. It's just that this came out at the same time as SpiderMan, and of course you will see SpiderMan way, 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 way later in this video. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think the big problem with Hawkeye is that SpiderMan kind of just like totally took over the internet and kind of just threw this show to the side. So I feel like to make the show better would be to put it at a different time, or put Spider-Man at a different time, because this is very Christmas centric, so you need it around Christmas time. But I was too busy thinking about Spider-Man to really enjoy this show, but I still did like this show. I really like Kate Bishop. I think she's probably my favorite new Marvel character. And then Kingpin was pretty cool too. He wasn't used too much. He was just like a little introduction. I really need to watch Daredevil to see more of him. And then I'm really excited to see him in the future. And then Yelena was really cool. She was cooler here than Black Widow, really, because I like the darkness and the mature theme of her wanting revenge and stuff like that. That was really cool. And then her with Kate Bishop was really cool. And overall, yeah, it was just a really pleasant show. It was very, street level, ground based, which is perfect for Hawkeye. So no real complaints with this show. It just kind of got covered up because of Spider-Man. So that's why it's kind of in the middle. And yeah, it was pretty good, but I wish it could stand by itself without Spider-Man taking the spotlight. In fourth place, we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this show has so much going for it. Like, I love Falcon. I love the Winter Soldier. I love US Agent, unlike most people. He was a really cool villain. Don't tell me otherwise. He was super, super cool. I especially love Zemo. He was great in Civil War, and seeing him come back was really, really great. But the two things holding me back from this show are that the villains, the Flag Smashers, were garbage. They were like the worst villains ever. Like, they kept making you want to sympathize with them by giving them lots of screen time and stuff like that, and I don't sympathize with them. I was happy when she died. Like, I hated them as villains, like, more than US Agent. They were just really, really lame villains. So giving them all this screen time and making you want to sympathize with them like didn't work for me. I don't like them. And then also finding out that Sam Wilson, Captain America, is getting his own movie kind of just makes me feel like, what was the point of this show if he's getting his own movie? I get that this is basically his origin story, but I don't really like how there's a show and a movie. There should be like one or the other, but he is getting both, which is pretty cool, but also just makes me think like, why not just make this a movie then, or like, and then have a sequel to that and stuff like that. But I don't know, this is just his origin story, I guess, but I still liked it. I just really hate the Flag Smashers, and I don't get why there's a movie and a show. Like, there should either be a season 2 or 2 movies and stuff like that, but those are just kind of minor complaints. Well, I guess, no, I really hated the villains. The villains really dragged this down. These are like the worst villains ever, but yeah, it was still pretty good, just these villains sucked. Coming in third place, we have ShangChi, and this movie, I really have like no complaints for it, except for Katie was a little bit annoying, but this movie was just a nice standalone Marvel movie that, you know, you can just watch and enjoy, and you don't really need to even understand the MCU to watch it. It was just super enjoyable, and the martial arts was really, really cool. The visuals were also really, really cool, and I wasn't expecting the Mandarin, I forget his real name, Wenwu, I think it was Wenwu. I wasn't expecting him to be this amazing of a villain. Like, he was super, super cool with his motive. Like, he was just this corrupt man who wanted his wife back, and that's like a motive I don't really get behind, but I kind of can't get behind. And I really, really enjoyed this movie, surprisingly. And yeah, I love how this is just a standalone MCU movie that he will tie into the future, but for this on its own, it is really, really good. And yeah, there's no real complaints. Katie's a bit annoying, and that's about it. It's a really, really good MCU movie. In second place, we have Loki. Loki was such a good show, showing like time travel and multiverse and all the different Lokis, and like it took the Avengers Loki and basically ran his character arc and like showed everything that happens in his life, and it's like, boom, you're a good guy now. And people did bring up that he does not really seem like, or like in like Ragnarok and Infinity War, he was nicer, but he wasn't as nice as this Loki now. So it does seem like they did change the character more than he was in like Ragnarok and Infinity War and stuff like that. And I kind of do see that, but I'm also kind of okay with it. But yeah, I really did love all of this. Like, Mobius was cool, Sylvie was cool, all the other Lokis was cool, especially classic Loki. And I just loved all of it, and I'm so excited that this started the multiverse. And I don't know how I feel about season 2. I thought this would start the multiverse, and then all of the other movies would finish it, but maybe this is going to cap off the multiverse, or this will just add on to it. I hope the season 2 won't ruin how great this season was. I have a feeling it won't, but yeah, I really loved this series. I was surprised by that, getting more Loki, because, you know, this guy's been around since, not the very beginning, of course, because he wasn't in Iron Man, but he was here since Thor, which was like the 4th movie, so he's been around for a long, long time, and he was just really great, and I loved this show. And yeah, I don't really have any complaints with it. This was a really great show, and easily my favorite MCU show so far. And to nobody's surprise, Spider-Man comes in at number 1. I've seen this movie twice already, and I still can't get over it. This is an amazing, amazing movie. And I'm the type of person who's kind of cynical, who says, oh, MCU has peaked in Endgame, and I still kind of agree with that, but this movie does come close to that. This movie is truly something special. Like, okay, if you're watching this, I hope you've seen it, but Toby and Andrew came back, and that was just crazy. That was amazing. When I like talked about this, and when lots of people talked about this a while ago, that was just their wildest dreams, and it became a reality. And it wasn't just fan service. They came, and it had a meaning, and they were there for something special. And they weren't just standing to the side and just, you know, talking and doing whatever. They had something to build on their own character arc. Like, Andrew got redemption by saving MJ, which was amazing, which was his big downfall in his movies. And then Toby, his downfall was, killing people for the people who wronged him. And that was like his big arc in his movies. And that's what he taught Tom in this movie, how he stopped the glider from stabbing Green Goblin and taught him that killing isn't the answer. So he had his own big moment, just like Andrew, and that was truly amazing. And even all the new characters, or I guess they're not new at all just the returning characters, that they were kind of fan servicey, but it also made sense. But even beyond that, Tom Holland's Spider-Man had this amazing character arc now that I love him now. I don't know, he was just okay before, but he has a legit character arc where he goes from wanting to kill Green Goblin. I loved every time he says, I'm going to kill him, because that was just so dark, and I love dark MCU. That was truly amazing. I love every time he said that. It just gave me goosebumps. And going from that to learning killing is not the answer, just like Tobey Maguire. And then even before that, he learned I gotta help them. He goes from this little kid who's like, oh, let's help everyone, to this man who's like, let's kill them, he killed my aunt, to we gotta learn to forgive and forget. And that's a beautiful character arc. And he's no longer Iron Man Jr. He is Spider-Man, and I love that. This did wonders for Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then it brought back two Amazing Spider-Man, and then all the villains, and everything about it is really great. Except for the beginning was a little bit awkward. People saw in the trailers how Doctor Strange was like, okay, we're gonna make the world forget you're Spider-Man, and then that's how the multiverse opens. People, when they saw the trailer and they saw that, they're like, that's gonna be worked out in the movies, right? And then turns out they didn't really fix that at all. They just kind of went with it. And that was my biggest problem. That's a kind of stupid way to open the multiverse, and lots of people agree with that. But if you just forget about that and then watch the movie and just forget about that, and then just watch Toby, Andrew, the fight scenes between Tom and Green Goblin, and then just the interactions between Electro and Andrew seeing each other again, Doc Ock, Toby seeing each other again, Aunt May's death. Oh my god, this movie is going to go down in history as one of the best movies ever in the MCU, and just in my opinion, out of every movie. I just can't stop talking about this. I should have made a review because I just have so much to say, but this is easily number one, no competition at all. I loved this movie. And I'm really excited to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and maybe Andrew gets a third movie. Toby might get a fourth movie, and Morbius might have them come back. I loved it so much. Oh my god. So yeah, that's easily number one, to no one's surprise. Tell me what your favorites were, and if Spider-Man wasn't your favorite, get out. Just kidding. You can have your opinion, of course, but Spider-Man was so cool. I just can't stop thinking about it. So yeah, that's my ranking. You don't have to agree with it, of course. I just wanted to share it. And yeah, farewell.